Steve Merrill back with a big game breakdown for your late night national TV game tonight on Thursday in the NBA between the Nuggets and Warriors. Going to look at side total and also a free player prop for you in this late night game tonight on TNT after 10:30 Eastern. Nuggets Warriors part 3, and it's been pretty good for Denver so far this season. In fact, it's been pretty good for Denver the past couple seasons. Nuggets won the early November meeting 108-105 at home. Golden State, though, covered as a 4.5-point road dog. And then Denver more recently won the Christmas meeting on December 25th, 120-114, also at home. But once again, Golden State covered what was then an inflated line of 7.5. So although Denver's gone 2-0 straight up, winning by 3 and 6, the Warriors have covered the 4.5 and 7.5 point lines. But the sharp early money came in on Denver this morning. They opened 3. They're now up to 3.5. I even see a straggling -4 out there. It looks like the line's climbing higher. But you got to wonder, is this another situation maybe where the point spread is a bit inflated? Very rare to see Golden State this big of a home dog. And of course, last year, those of you that followed the NBA closely remember Golden State had the most extreme home road dichotomy in many seasons. They were very strong at home, very weak on the road. So you would expect this to be a double revenge bounce back spot for the Warriors. The problem is Golden State is not the better team. So I can understand why the market has moved towards Denver. Nuggets have now won 5 straight over the last couple of seasons. In fact, last year, they were a perfect 3-0 against Golden State, and they did go 3-0 ATS in those games. But the Nuggets were also an underdog in 2 of those 3 games, including the only one that was in Golden State. In fact, this is the only time in the past 2 seasons, last 5 games, 4 of them have been in the thin air and altitude. So it is a better setup here for Golden State. But Denver's obviously been the better team here in recent games. As far as the total, open 233.5. It's now up to 235.5. Even see some 236s out there. So we have seen some money come in on the over this morning, at least early on Thursday. Of course, a late night tip-off. We'll see where it settles here many hours later. But keep in mind, the first 2 games have stayed under this total. 213 was the game in November. Yes, 234 on Christmas got a little bit closer, and teams did shoot their normal percentages, but both teams shot extremely well from the free throw line. They made 46 of 55 free throws, and it still landed on just 234. By the way, that 213 total back in November, both teams are ice cold from three-point range, as is often the case. They each were an identical 11 for 35, which means they missed a combined 48 three-pointers and only made 22 of them. That's the reason that game stayed under so easy in November. Draymond Green, of course, is still out with that long suspension, that indefinite suspension, and it might not matter. He did not play for either game in November or December. Jamal Murray did miss the November game, and he had an excellent game for Denver on Christmas, putting up 28 points. And it looks like he took some of the points away from Reggie Jackson, who had only 2 shot attempts and only 2 total points in December. And I mentioned that because Jackson actually was the second leading scorer for the Nuggets with 20 points in 32 minutes on 17 shots in that November game. All right, let's look at a player prop, though. I think that's the best way to attack this game tonight. I'm going to look at Caldwell Pope over his total points, and there's a reason why, a couple reasons why. First of all, he only had 10 points in the first meeting in November, but he then had 16 points on the Christmas meeting, and that might not seem like much, but his over-under points tonight, looking at DraftKings, is only 9.5, and it's juiced to the under. We actually get 9.5 over -105, and this is a guy that put up 10 and 16 in the 2 head-to-head meetings. And by the way, when he had 10 points in November, he was only 3 for 8 shooting. Didn't shoot well, 0 for 3 from 3, and he still got 10. Shot a little bit better, only 6 for 13 in the second meeting and got to 16. And recent current form is why this total is so low, because he's had just 5 and 8 points the last couple of games against the Hornets and Thunder. But he did put up 28 points combined the 2 before that against the Grizzlies. And, oh, yeah, the Warriors. That 16-point game was part of it. So I think Caldwell Pope matches up well against Golden State once again tonight. And not having Draymond Green down there defensively definitely helps him out. And, of course, Green did not play in the first 2 meetings this year, and Caldwell Pope went over this total both times. Take a look at Caldwell Pope over 9.5 total points tonight in this late night game on TNT between the Nuggets and the Warriors. And don't forget, if you want my official NBA best bets each and every day, you might want to check out my website, stevemerrill.wagertalk.com.
The San Antonio Spurs look for some hometown revenge on Thursday night after losing 26 of their previous 28 matchups, one of the worst runs in the entire league. And one of which came against these very same Milwaukee Bucks just a couple of weeks ago as well. You know, the Bucks were in complete control of that opening series matchup throughout. You know, they barely got out of autopilot, racked up an almost 20-point lead at the end of the first quarter in that game, with Damian Lillard especially having a standout game for Milwaukee, putting up 40 points on the Spurs in that game. However, the former Trailblazer hasn't found that same level of success across his last two starts against the Indiana Pacers, averaging just 18 points per game in those matchups, which has been a bit of a symptom of the Bucks of late as a whole, losing 3 of the last 5 games outright in what's arguably been their toughest stretch of the entire season so far. That said, it's still difficult to see the Spurs competing in this one. This total is currently lined at 249.5 at the time of recording, yet San Antonio has eclipsed the 120-point mark themselves in just one of their last 9 starts overall. That coming against the aforementioned 21st ranked Portland Trailblazers, with the Spurs averaging a dismal 99.5 points across their last 2 starts as well. Portland 21st in defensive efficiency, it has to be said. If I'm getting involved in this game from a side perspective, I'd honestly be more inclined to lay it with the road favourite in this one, even given all of the recent troubles. In terms of a best bet, though, we're going to go back to a play I circled earlier in the day. But before I do, I just want to remind everyone of WagerTalk and Sports Memos ring in the New Year special offer, which is going on right now. And if you lock in the next 30 days with the handicapper of your choice, you get an extra week of all their plays absolutely free. No coupon code needed. So make sure and lock that in before it expires on Monday. Going back to the best bet, this is the only play I like for tonight, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks first half under team total to cash against the San Antonio Spurs tonight. You know, contrary to what I just said about leaning towards the Bucks from a side perspective on the full game line, I nevertheless think Milwaukee will come out a little slower here in this one and leave some value on the under. You know, Milwaukee can be, they can be a funny team in many regards, especially across recent starts. They put up just 21 points in the second quarter against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday, just 51 total points in the first half against the New York Knicks the Monday prior. And while the Bucks lead the league in second half scoring this year on the road, averaging, a pretty insane 65.4 points per game over the final 24 minutes, that just hasn't been the case for them in the first halves of games this season, averaging a far more subdued 58.3 points per game in that regard. And for those even more adventurous in terms of backing an early under in this one, the Bucks have averaged just 28.1 points per game in the first quarters of games this season away from home, by far their lowest quarter tally on the road. So for me, no lines out as the time we're making this video at the time of recording, but I do like the Milwaukee team total points under first half or first quarter tonight. I like both of those, as I believe we see the Bucks play the form in this one and come out a little slower against the San Antonio Spurs later tonight. That'll do it from me. Don't forget to like the video, and as always, drop your own predictions for this matchup down in the comment section below. And until next time, best of luck on all your bets and slot all you.
Cashed again last night on Wednesday in the NBA. It's our first best bet of 2024. We're now 1-0 this year, and that's after going 103 and 63, up over 130 plus units in 2023 alone in the NBA. Hey, college hoops is off to a great run as well. Also, college and pro football #1 combined the past 2 years on sides. In fact, all sports for 2022 and 2023 and all sports sides were #1 at WagerTalk. And that includes that great NBA season I mentioned. Hey, not a bad time to check out my daily best bets for Thursday night. But more importantly, take advantage of that New Year special that is still available. Lock in for a full calendar year, 365 days. It gets you into January of 2025 now for just over $3 a day. Instant 41% discount on a full year of all access from the #1 ranked capper at WagerTalk. But you got that promo code SM365. Full details on that huge savings. Works out to just over $3 a day for every sport every day for a full year, along with daily free plays. Check out the free plays. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games tonight and many more great standalone videos for college and pro football, basketball, every sport you could want right here on WagerTalk TV. So hit subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below. We read all the comments. We reply back. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you again soon here on WagerTalk TV.